Hey everybody, welcome to the FN Studios. I am John Ramdeen. He is Robin Black. Coming up September 18th, live right here on FN, it is World Series of Fighting, the rematch between Justin Gaethje and Luis Palomino. If you have not seen the first fight, do yourself a favor, go and watch it. It is remarkable. You want entertainment. Justin Gaethje, one of the best in the world at entertaining in mixed martial arts. And you and I have talked about it in the past. I know we're purists and we're looking for certain truths of mixed martial arts, but there are times, like when Justin Gaethje fights, that, you know, defense goes out the window and it is all about throwing down and slugging. And this is one of those guys that definitely appeals to the casual fans.
Yeah, and he does appeal to us too. And we do have some friends that are of the same ilk as us, coaches and people that we chat to, and they're like, oh man, those kind of fights. But this guy does have that. He has that risk-taker mentality, but he also shows some beautiful heart, real desire. I mean, and the technique is good. You know, he just, by being so mentally willing to take risks, he's actually able to execute some pretty cool stuff. So, hey man, just because you're not into defense doesn't make you a bad fighter. Offense wins fights too. And offense versus offense can be really, really, really fun. And it just, you know, if you're going to fight 100 times in your life and try to be the most successful, winningest fighter, you want to be the George St. Pierre of the world, that ain't how you do it. But if you're going to fight 10 or 15 times, make a lot of money, enjoy it, and you're the type of person who says, I'm just going to push, and you're going to push back, but I'll break you, that's who he is. That's who Palomino is. You get good fights.
Justin Gaethje in a very unique situation. You look at the landscape of mixed martial arts, most of the top fighters in the world are either in the UFC organization or they are with the #2 organization, Bellator. Justin Gaethje with World Series of Fighting. The event's going to be in Phoenix, in his own backyard. He gets to get his own sponsors, and he's making a lot of money. Is there room for this in mixed martial arts? Will we see more guys being able to make a lot of money fighting outside the #1 and #2 organizations on the planet?
Yeah, that's a good question. And why is he making that much money? He is getting paid. He's getting paid really well. Kyle Stoltz is one of his management teams, a friend of mine, and he goes to bat for him because he's worth it. So he gets paid well, he gets good sponsorship, he's exciting, people talk about him. But then the question has to be asked, is he making all that cake because he's kind of a star? And if he's kind of a star, would he make even more cake in one of the biggest organizations in the world? That's a tough question. But I like the approach that Kyle's taken. I like his approach. I think it's fun. I think we all enjoy watching the guy fight.
And that goes down September 18th. The following night, Bama is happening. TFC is happening, as well as Bellator, Dynamite. And you look back in mixed martial arts history, K1 has had a number of Dynamite shows. It started with Pride, and then it was K1 Heroes, and then it was Dream. So Bellator taking a page out of K1's book. We know we're going to see some kickboxing, which is the Glory guys. You know, Glory took over for K1. It is now the premier kickboxing organization on the planet. And then Bellator has their tournament that has King Mo and Phil Davis and Emmanuel Newton, as well as Josh Thompson on the card. Do you like this sort of thing?
Yeah, you know, it's when Scott Coker went over to Bellator, we're like, they got Viacom money and power, and they got Scott Coker's brains. We thought they would do well. But you're already seeing the kind of real smart thinking that they're doing, combining brands. Viacom is a part owner of Bellator, as well as Glory, so we're able to put those together. I mean, one of the conversations we have with fight fans all the time is, hey man, you should really see how beautiful wrestling is. You should really see how cool the submission game and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and grappling can be. Not everybody agrees with us, and that's okay. So why wouldn't those people love Glory?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're an MMA fan who a lot of times, get up and strike with that guy, that's all Glory is. So it makes a lot of sense. And I love that they're taking this Dynamite brand, and that's going to be an ongoing thing. These guys know what time it is.
Do you think that's the goal moving forward? Have, just like Pride had back in the day, have the Shockwave show, the year-end show. It's a destination. If you are a combat sports fan, whether it's MMA or kickboxing, is that, do you believe that's the plan for Bellator moving forward?
I think it is, and I think they sell each other. Like I said, MMA fans love seeing guys punch and kick guys in the head. That's one of the primary motivations of the MMA fan. So they're going to watch some Glory and go, hey, wait a second, maybe I should tune in and watch this. So they're going to sell each other. Bellator is doing a really good thing, and if you're a big picture guy, even if you're a UFC fan, primarily, whatever it is, this helps the whole sport. Because by Bellator being smart with promotion, doing cross-promotion with Glory, building their own stars, and building a culture of positivity that attracts some fighters, attracts some TV talent, attracts some business talent. The UFC has to ratchet up all those things because competition is good. It's going to make the UFC better. It's going to make Bellator better. It's going to make the sport of MMA better.
Scott Coker says that the goal is to have somewhere between 22 and 26 events in 2016, not just in North America. The goal to go overseas. They're talking about London. They're talking about Israel. Is this a good move for the Bellator organization? Because quite frankly, if you talk to a lot of people in North America, fight fans, and you ask them about Bellator, they still don't know what it is. It's like, oh, I think I might have seen that, but they can't tell you anybody on their roster or what fights they've seen.
Good business people, good people in whatever it is you do, are ready to make adjustments as it happens. You've got to be smart enough to go, maybe we were wrong about that. Maybe this choice would be good. And I think Bellator this year, maybe it wasn't even wrong, it was the mandatory strategy. Pull it back, because we don't have enough fighters to be able to do big shows all the time. Do less shows, lots of shoulder programming. When we expand the roster, do more shows. If we're doing more shows, we can't do them all in America. Plus, they have TV deals in countries all over the world. You look at it as a fight fan who has a marginal or somewhat interest in the strategy of business. Scott Coker's a smart cat,
he
man.
is, yeah. And of course, there was rumors that, you know, Bellator was in negotiations with Fedor. Scott Coker says, you know what, that door is closed right now, and we are hearing rumblings that the UFC could be close to, or if they already have signed a deal with Fedor. Do you expect that that news is real?
I think this is the time for the UFC to sign Fedor. They didn't sign him before because it was so expensive it may not have been worth it. There's arguments that harmed, you know, the parent company that did sign Fedor at the time. But now Fedor is cheaper, and now they can still get just as much out of it. They know how to market, they know how to sell, and there's rumblings that he might be the co-main event under Ronda in Melbourne, Australia, maybe against Mark Hunt. These are all still rumors, but don't be surprised if that's the case. It's time for Fedor to come to the UFC. It makes sense for absolutely everybody involved, and it's going to happen, I think.
Yeah, you and I have talked about it. There are a number of fights that I think would interest the casual fans as well as the hardcore fans, because the hardcore fans, they love Fedor. They believe that there's nothing that this guy can do that is bad. He just helps the sport. He is exciting, and I think with the right matchups, that fans will still, the casual fans will still jump on board. Is Fedor the top of the heap at 100 or the heavyweight limit, or 205 pounds? Is he going to make the move down to light heavyweight? It depends on what he decides to do and what his team decides to do, because he's not a spring chicken.
I'm even more interested in Fedor now than I was before. And while we're talking about being wrong, there was a time where I didn't buy it. Like it felt too easy for us to get all so excited about Fedor. But the more I've learned about the mental game, the more I've learned about that kind of mental power, the more I've learned about him combining that mental strength with a real unbelievable weapon of perfection like his timing on his right hand, I buy it a lot more than I used to the more I've learned, and I'm even more excited to see him fight now.
Many people consider Fedor to be one of the pound-for-pound best. Well, one of the pound-for-pound best will be in action this Saturday night. Tune in to Fight Network's preview show at 7 p.m. Eastern as we get you set for Demetrius Johnson versus John Dodson 2.